Hi, a warm welcome to you all. Today we will show you two more houses for the price of an apartment. You can see one of them behind me. It is a house that, despite its small size, can comfortably sleep up to 8 people. The second one is in complete isolation, and we are almost 2 kilometers from the nearest neighbor. So watch until the end to see it. Both houses have 35 square meters of floor space and are built under a simplified notification procedure. But in today's episode, we will also cover more serious topics, such as price changes over time, current inflation, and whether such a house can be rented out, and if it can increase in value over time, like an apartment. So, to make sure you don't miss anything, subscribe to our channel with the red button, and I invite you to watch the episode. We are in the Lower Silesian Voivodeship in the village of Hocomo. We didn't come here for these stones, but they do impress me. As a child, I liked playing with stones, although they were a bit smaller back then. We are an hour and a half from Wrocław, and to get here, we drove for almost 5 hours from Warsaw. So, to arrive here early, we had to get up early in the morning at 4 o'clock. But for views like these, I think it was definitely worth it. Plus the treetops covered in frost make a great impression. These are not the only topics, however, that we came here to discuss. We will head over to the cabin in a moment, but before we do that, we saw a few types of construction on the way. We have one traditional one behind us now, and the question arises, why did the investor choose us, a company from Warsaw, to build a structure 400 kilometers away? What are the pros and cons of building with us or choosing such a traditional company and, in fact, a traditional method? Here, the formwork is being set up, followed by the pouring of concrete. However, the downside to all of this is that it must be done on site and requires constant supervision. Living 400 or 500 kilometers away, you would have to come here every day to check the construction progress or hire a general contractor. As for such local contractors, we have our own thoughts, which we will get to later. But for now, just look at what building a structure like this looks like. There are 8 people. Ever since we arrived here, someone has been shouting constantly. We won't even repeat the words being used, but that seems to be a tradition in this industry. My impressions of traditional construction remain the same, because since we arrived here, nothing has changed. Despite 8 people on site and the hard work they are doing all the time, progress is barely visible. Such a construction project is certainly a big challenge for the investor, especially if they have to supervise it themselves. And there is one more factor that can turn this construction into a nightmare. Let's move on to that. This building behind me has caught our attention. It is currently unfinished, and the question is this already an investor's nightmare, or is it yet to come? Or perhaps everything will turn out fine. We do not know that, and we wish them all the best, of course. However, a traditional build, whether masonry or timber frame, if done on site, can simply lead to a building being left abandoned and our contractor stopping answering the phone. Then we have a huge problem and no one to turn to for help. So whether to build it yourself or hire a company is up to you. And let's move on to the house. The whole area is very beautiful. Trees, mountains. It is clear that log cabins, which you can see behind me, could not be missing either. It is a matter of taste, a matter of choice. Who likes what? Who prefers what? I think there will be clients for renting such a house and for renting such a modular house as well. We came here to show you this building, which is 35 meters and sleeps up to 8 people. It is strictly an investment for the owners, used for their recreation and leisure. The plot starts here by the road, space for 2 cars and a gravel path leading us to the large, almost 35 square meter terrace. I must admit, everything here works well together. There is also a slope. You can see that some work had to be done on the land to prepare it properly. Building in the mountains and developing such terrain is certainly not easy, but it is worth the final result, definitely. Let us know if you like this building. The roof is gabled. The building arrived here split in half. Exactly. The seam falls somewhere around this wall lamp, so it arrived in two parts straight from our factory. With such a high roof, the building is almost 4 meters tall, and inside it is 3.5 meters high. Downstairs, there is a living room, dining room, a room and a bathroom, and we also have extra space for 2 small mezzanines where you can go to sleep. Let's go inside. I just don't know which lock the operator locked. We got it. We made it. But before we go in, take a look at how the front looks. The entire front is practically glazed, and we even have glass doors for this building, which provides us with plenty of light inside, so it's bright in there. We don't have to turn on the lights. Let's go inside, let's go in and show what this building looks like on the inside. I invite you inside. Upon entering, we are immediately in a large, spacious living room connected to the kitchen. You can no longer call this a kitchenette. For a house of this size, it is a large kitchen that is very functional. By the entrance, there is a good-sized wardrobe where we can easily fit 4 to 6 jackets and shoes. And here we have the entrance to the bathroom, which is very tastefully decorated. A radiator, a toilet with a concealed cistern, a vanity unit with a sink, and a shower cabin. There is also a small cabinet here. And leaving the bathroom, we can climb up to the first mezzanine in this house. These are spots on both sides of the building where there is an extra mattress, which guarantees additional sleeping space. As I said, a large kitchen and a small table. Everything here is furnished quite minimally, but in my opinion, nothing more is needed. Look at how high it is here, almost 3.5 meters. As I mentioned, it provides a lot of space. And thanks to the roof design, we have another small mezzanine where we can fit 2 people. A mattress to sleep there comfortably, plus a fold-out sofa, a ladder, and an extra room. A full-sized room with a slightly lower ceiling, because this mezzanine had to be placed up here, of course, but a bed will fit easily, and a wardrobe will certainly fit here too. You can come here for a weekend or a week and relax comfortably. The entire investment cost 145,000 zlotys a year ago. Today, for the same building, we would have to pay about 225,000. A 50% year-on-year increase certainly gives you a lot to think about. What is this due to? Is it inflation, material costs, labor costs? Actually, everything has an impact. No factor is indifferent to this. Should you buy now or wait a bit longer? That decision is up to you. In my opinion, based on what I observe, I don't think it will get any cheaper, but only the future can show us that. That is why we will return to this topic next year and see if I was wrong or if I was right. The view from the mezzanine, which is located above the bathroom, perfectly shows us the living room, the kitchen, the second room, and how much space there is here. From it, we can also see the second mezzanine, where there are mattresses on which we can calmly rest after a whole day of effort in the mountains. The owners of this building are wondering whether to perhaps also use this investment for short-term or long-term rentals. If someone wanted to come, for example, during the winter break, let us know in the comments how much you would be willing to pay to rent this building per night during such a winter getaway. And from here, we are moving on to the next location, where we will show you another house built under the notification procedure. We drove for 3 hours to reach our second house built under the notification procedure, which is 35 meters.
To get there, we still have to climb the mountain to the very top, and that is where we will find this destination with the house located on the mountain peak. Even though the drive was not easy, we managed to make it up this road. Contrary to the belief that you cannot reach most places and that traditional construction is necessary, at least that is what companies often claim, as they only build on site and cannot imagine bringing in such a house. Through difficult terrain. It is hard to get here even by car, let alone driving a truck up. That is why, to get all the way to the top, we had to enlist local companies with tractors and trailers, and we brought the load up in 2 parts. We have challenging conditions. It is very sandy here, so sometimes the operator might stumble a bit, but that is probably normal for this terrain. All of this with a smile on our faces. 2 hours from Warsaw, 1 hour from the center of Wrocław, 3 hours from the place and the cabin you saw last time, and 3 degrees warmer. We are here on a flat area. Even though the house stands on a hill, you notice the peace and quiet, and you don't have to go to the mountains to relax in such a mountain atmosphere. We are about to head to the very top and show you the view from up there. You can see all around, it is very pristine here. On the way here we talked a bit about investments. We had plenty of time to discuss the current situation for borrowers and the current situation regarding finances. We touched on the topic of inflation a bit. We have an interesting episode on the channel that we recorded recently. What could you buy for 5,000 zlotys 2 years ago? A year ago and today, and we took that from our perspective. We took OSB boards, stacked them up and took 5,000. Check out our channel to watch this episode and subscribe to see more on this topic, because we don't just film about houses. We want to place these houses within the current market situation and the current financial situation. I will take a brief pause here. Look at the path we had to take to get up here. The view from the top definitely makes up for it, but we had to drive a truck up here. It really makes you think about the journey required for such a house to finally stand on the investor's property. In any case, the question was whether a modular frame or any other type of house can appreciate in value over time, just like an apartment. We are talking about capital growth. The house you can see at the top of the mountain cost about 180,000 zlotys a year ago. Today, for the same building, we would have to pay almost 280. And now the question arises.
Will it be cheaper?
Should we wait with such an investment? In my opinion, if we buy something long-term, like investments in gold, apartments, houses, or other assets, it is worth thinking about not looking at it through the prism of a year or two. We look at it in the long term. Will real estate prices fall, or will the cost of this construction fall? It is hard for us to say right now, looking at the current situation we are facing and looking at the previous crisis that took place for a moment. Those prices stopped, or perhaps in some cases fell, but those were small drops that quickly returned to their old value and began to exceed it. So, looking at what is happening, at the lockdowns we had, at the situation regarding inflation, and at what might happen in the future, who knows what life has in store for us. Fulfilling your own dreams or meeting long-term housing needs should not cause financial loss. In fact, it should act like the appreciation of a standard apartment. We are talking here about the example of the houses you can see behind me, as well as the land on which these houses are located. We cannot print more land, but we can print money, and you only live once. So, to fulfill your own dreams or housing needs, there is probably always a good time for it. In the long run, statistics show that investors who invest for the long term always fare better than those who invest for a moment and speculate. But let everyone decide for themselves. A small correction to what I said in the first house.
The second one is in complete isolation, and we are almost 2 kilometers from the nearest neighbor.
The nearest neighbor here is at least 3 kilometers away because for a long time there is nothing, just the mountain where the house stands. I think the only neighbors around here might be squirrels, wild boars and deer. Sometimes we might meet a stray mushroom picker who wanders here in season. But otherwise, we have peace and quiet here. You really cannot hear anything here. Look how great this house looks here. It is literally located in a spot with no trees, yet it is surrounded by trees on the hill. As we walk around it, we can see the beautiful view that stretches out from this mountain. Let us go around to this side to take a look at what makes up the exterior of this house. We have this rhomboduo facade here. It is a thin board made of spruce wood. There is a modern pergola covered with polycarbonate and a large terrace going all around, which is made of composite. Let's walk around this terrace and get a feel for what the owners experience when they arrive here. It is a bit slippery, but that is fine. It is finally December after all. What the owners must feel being here, spending time together, relaxing and truly enjoying the peace they can find here. We also have a hole here. Something went wrong. No, everything is foreseen and planned from the inside. You will see a special outlet for a large fireplace has been prepared. If fireplace is planned here in the future, there will probably also be some kind of roof. This terrace at the back is also very wide. I think it is about 3 meters here. That is why some seating is likely planned for the back of the building in the future. With a view right from this terrace.
A very large plot, almost 3.5 hectares of your own oasis of peace.
It is truly wonderful here. Even though it is colder, we will definitely ask the owners if we can come back in season to see how this place looks, and secondly, what the fully finished house looks like, because there are still some minor finishing works being done inside. But even so, let us go in and see what this house looks like inside. What I would also like to add is that there is also a very large glass wall at the front, so we have an exit to the forest. It is very bright here. Even though there are trees all around, it is really bright inside. Only one small light bulb is on for now. The whole house consists of a large living room with a kitchen, a bedroom and a bathroom. It is quite enough to come here and relax for the weekend. Inside Giacolata, the owners have finished this building very tastefully. There is still a bit to do, but you can already come here and relax. We have a large comfortable sofa here where we can also accommodate our guests and from which there is a beautiful view outside. There are 2 large fixed windows here, glass panels and double doors inside, also glazed. If we wanted to take this table outside, we could easily open the second leaf and have a meal outdoors. We have a dining table here for 4 people, but we can easily fit 6 or extend the table. We can see a hole here. That is no accident, just as we mentioned from the outside. There will be a fireplace here in the future, which will serve to add atmosphere to this place. Since the whole house is heated with electric mats, it is already warm enough here. Even though the fireplace provides heat, it also creates an atmosphere that clearly completes this space. The entire kitchen was also designed just as the owners dreamed it would be. Let us know in the comments how you like it. Would you have organized it the same way? We have an under-counter fridge here, and there is also an oven, a 4-burner cooktop, and a large sink, lots of cabinets and cupboards for storage. It is known that during the weekend you need full equipment, just like we normally have at home every day. Here we also have sliding doors that hide into the wall. That is why, even though the house is small, it really has a lot of space. We do not lose that space to swinging doors. One door leads us to a room with a large, comfortable armchair, plus a sofa bed where we can host our guests. From here, I can also step out onto the terrace, which is an added benefit, so we don't have to walk through here if our guests are still sleeping and we want to go out in the morning to listen to the birds singing. The bathroom is still being finished, but subscribe and follow us to see how it will look, because we will certainly be back here in the spring. Today we saw 2 houses, each for the price of a small studio apartment in a small town, and their owners were also able to enjoy them for the last year and use them in their free time. They can also be pleased with one more thing, namely the increase in the value of their properties. Because if they wanted to buy these houses today, they would have to pay about 50% more. So both the house under construction is a bit more expensive today, and the value of the land it sits on has also gone up during this time. Therefore, if they wanted to sell their investment today, they would certainly still make a good profit on it. But I think it will be clearly visible over the long term to show how the value of these properties grows. I thank you for staying until the end and invite you to watch the next episodes. See you later.